record on computer. All right, so I'll share my screen. So as you all know, I've been doing this is the second one actually in this series. So once a month, I'll be coming on and delivering a webinar that's a little bit more informative than just my 10, 20-minute Facebook Live. So this is a little bit more in depth. So I will go through a number of things today, but essentially it's all about non-ablative plasma fibroblasting. And let me just do that so I can see my whole screen. All right, there we go. So, like I said, today will be about non-ablative plasma fibroblasting. I'll discuss, the evolution and how it came about. I'll talk about industry trends. Also talk about the difference between ablative and non-ablative plasma fibroblasting, and also best practices, and also how to increase the effectiveness or the efficacy of your treatments as well, by discussing, pre and post care and prepping as well. So without a further ado, for those of you who are new to TADLI, the Australian Dermal Laser Institute, we do have a vision, and that is to raise the standard of skin education and technology and bridging the gap between beauty, dermal, and healthcare practitioners, ensuring an integrated approach. That's our team. And of course, our values, as usual, is always all about quality. So we like to deliver quality education, devices, and skincare. Hopefully you all trust, because we do business with those who we know, trust, and like. And I'm sure you can see how passionate myself and the team are. And we always do it with lots and lots of kindness. That's important. These are all our different brands that we actually distribute and have. So the top are all the different devices. I know historically we've only delivered education. We haven't sold devices. Now we actually sell devices with a high level of our education. It just made sense to make this step. Hopefully you find it as useful as we think it will be. But first and foremost, education is the most important thing for me. So, I'm not necessarily out there selling devices. I'll always give, advice on devices. And if I don't think you need a particular device, or if I think you can use a device to its fullest capacity or capability, then that is more important than trying to sell you something. So even though we do sell things, education is still in my heart, and it's my number one priority, along with good skincare, so that my team and I have formulated here in Melbourne. And watch out for Lara Medical. So this should be launched in the next couple of weeks. We've had some really good results with the no peel peels, and we're actually in the middle of running some clinical trials halfway through actually, with the Lara Medical hair regeneration serum, and only 3 weeks in, and we're seeing a little bit of a difference, which is actually amazing. Anyway, I will get online and talk more about hair regeneration, because people have commented on a post that we made a few weeks ago, and we're like, if you can use your existing devices to regrow or regenerate hair or strengthen hair, well, why not? So if you're interested, let me know, and we'll put you on the wait list. If you don't know me, my background, my formal education rather is in education at RMIT here in Melbourne. So I've got my Bachelor of Education. I majored in science. I did do beauty therapy down the track. And then I have also done lots of short courses. I did have, with my sisters, 15 locations across Melbourne, and sold those 12 years ago. And ever since then, I've been teaching for various manufacturers, and also obviously for TADLI. So TADLI was born out of we just saw there was a lack of education, really good education. Device education is one thing, but I think, bespoke or tailored education is completely different, where, you're able to use your devices to the fullest of their potential, and also off-label too. So that's my specialty. Won a few awards, which I'm very happy about, 4 years in a row, actually. So very, very proud and humble too. So thank you to everyone. So let's first have a look at the evolution of skin rejuvenation. Skin rejuvenation initially started many, many, many years ago, and it was quite harsh. From microdermabrasion, where the first it wasn't even microdermabrasion, it was a dermabrasion technique, was using basically, it looked like sandpaper and a grinding wheel. And of course, that evolved into microdermabrasion, now into what we have is hydrodermabrasion. So even something as simple as microdermabrasion has evolved, and so has, I suppose, the types of ablative techniques or treatments. Who can name a couple of different devices or techniques or modalities that are out there that are ablative? Does anyone know? Actually, anyone know? Write in your comments box what an ablative technique might be, or what actually is it? What is ablation? Let's have a look. Alexia, fantastic. Okay, CO2 laser. So CO2 laser, some of you may have heard of CO2, is a type of laser where basically it is, I suppose, resurfacing using light the top skin, the top layer of the skin. And it's quite aggressive in that, and I hate saying the burn word, but it's a controlled wound. It's a controlled burn to the epidermis. Basically, all of that is ablated. And what happens over time, over several weeks and months, is that skin re-epithelializes and you've got basically a new epidermis. So that's quite aggressive. And so over time, we've gone from something as aggressive as CO2 to fractionated CO2. So instead of ablating the tissue fully, what we're now doing is we're fractionating the treatment, and we're ablating only a little portion of the tissue while we're keeping the rest of the epidermis intact. And what that means is there's less downtime, there's less infection or risks of infection or post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. The healthy tissue is still there. It's able to communicate via cytokines and the skin's immune cells. It's able to recover and bounce back a lot quicker. And so there has been these types of treatments, like we said, CO2 and other ablative lasers, to now we move into, say, about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, where plasma was introduced. But it was introduced in a fairly harsh manner, where we were doing what we called the spray technique. And what the spray technique was you got your plasma pen and you sprayed over the entire area, and that entire eyelid, for example, was ablated. There was no healthy tissue left. And next thing we know, there's a lot of downtime, there's a lot of swelling, PIH, and so forth. And fast forward to now, what we're doing now is dots. So what we're doing is creating tiny little micro dots. The downtime is less, the swelling is less, PIH is less, and the risk is less, and the results are still quite extraordinary. Fast forward to the last maybe 2 to 3 years, we now have non-ablative plasma. And so before I get into exactly how that works, I'll just keep going on to about the safety and the downtime for a second. Like I said, with the dot plasma, there was a little bit of that downtime. There was a little bit of an issue with leaving indents in the skin. We sometimes saw a little bit of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and it depended on how the actual treatment was delivered. When the treatment was delivered aggressively, we saw pitting, or when the treatment was delivered and the dots were too close together, we saw a lot of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and increased downtime. Now, like I said, moving forward to the last few years where cold plasma was introduced or non-ablative plasma was introduced, we're not actually traumatizing the epidermis to the point where we're leaving crusting. So the way I explain it is it's a microablation. So rather than a full ablation or we're leaving these little carbon crusts, we're ablating the skin, but in a really micro manner that it's not actually visible to the naked eye. So that is one way. That's what we call dotless plasma. So you can't see it, but you can definitely smell it. So when you do the treatment and you can't see the ablation happening to the skin, when the person smells it, they can smell that ablated skin. It smells like, burnt hair. So there definitely is trauma. And by doing that, it's reducing, once again, the downtime. It's reducing the risks. And still the efficacy is there. So the effectiveness, not of skin tightening, but of rejuvenation, it's definitely there. However, you do need more treatments. And I'll come into protocols a little bit down the track. But we now have evolved so much in the industry with these types of treatments. Once upon a time, it used to be really harsh laser, harsh microdermabrasion, really harsh needling, with our rollers. And it was all meant to be harsh, but what we found out is it's detrimental because of the amount of reactive oxygen species that actually ends up causing premature aging in the skin. And we were also finding too much of the heat shock proteins being exposed or, what's not exposed, being released into the skin, that it was actually detrimental. So if you haven't noticed over especially the last 5 years, we're fractionating treatments, we're going a lot more gentler, we're putting more nutrition, more antioxidants into the skin, and we're really preparing the skin to make sure that it can cope with the little bit of trauma that we're about to induce. So I'll talk about, prepping the skin a little bit more. And when I do teach, I find when I say to people, are you prepping the skin for 2 to 4 weeks? Sometimes they say yes, which sometimes is not good enough. And when I say, are you preparing the skin with needling 2 weeks before? Sometimes they say yes. And again, it's not great. So there are different ways to prepare the skin in order to get the best effectiveness. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But let's have a look at, for those of you who need a refresher or plasma is completely new to you, let's understand plasma and plasma fibroblasting. But first of all, we know that plasma fibroblast, or, the fourth state of matter, plasma, is not any way related to plasma in our blood. Oftentimes when the consumer hears plasma, they think, oh, they're going to draw blood. There's a needle involved. We need to make it clear to everyone, to our consumer, to our clients, that there is no blood at all. And in fact, we don't even touch the skin with our probe. Okay, there's not being inserted, there is no blood. So with matter, as we all know, there are 3 states of matter that are very common to us. It is solids, liquids, and gases. When we have water and we freeze it, it becomes a solid. We melt it, it becomes a liquid. We boil it, it becomes a gas. Then we have the 4th state, and that 4th state is actually plasma. It's all around us and it's in the atmosphere. So it's completely safe. It's not going to cause any damage to the DNA by way of mutation. Can it cause damage if you overexpose your skin? Yes, that's a different story. But plasma all around us is natural, and it happens in little and very big ways. So if I rub my foot on the floor and I touch the person next to me, there's a transference of energy. And that transference, we see it actually as plasma, and the other person, or we feel it as a little static shock, if you will. That static shock is actually plasma. That's the 4th state. And on a much grander scale, we see plasma when our clouds get highly charged up, and there's lots and lots of ions there. And there's this conduction happening from the cloud to the earth, and we have a big bolt of, we call it lightning or plasma being emitted to the earth. So it's all around us. But technically speaking, if energy is supplied to a gas, it is ionized to create a microelectrical discharge. Like I said, plasma, the fourth state of matter. Plasma is generated by ionizing the gases in the air to create an electrical arc consisting of loaded ionized particles, which are made up of electrons, protons, and neutrons, and it makes them conductive. So on a technical level, that's exactly what plasma is, but we see it all around us. So our device emits this little charge, and once it touches the skin, it can create some type of response. Sometimes it's traumatic and sometimes it's not overly traumatic, right? But again, it's that minimal trauma that we're relying on to increase the collagen by way of increasing the fibroblasts or stimulating the fibroblasts in the skin. So again, I'm just going to quickly go over ablative plasma and non-ablative plasma. So ablative plasma is used to create controlled thermal trauma to the epidermis. So it is epidermal to target that particular area. And it's, like I said, it's triggering that wound healing response. And so then we get the inflammatory response, fibroblasts are released, and then, of course, we get collagen, elastin, and over the coming months, we then get the remodeling or maturation of those collagen fibers, where collagen type 3 becomes collagen type 1. And that takes several days, if not months, for that to occur. And it's really important for you to know this, because oftentimes, and this is not any treatment that we're causing trauma, not just plasma, but oftentimes when we do create this controlled wound, over the next few months, people are not told that home care and treatments in your clinic and LED and skincare is really important. It's always the focus is on, pre-care, on your prep. But what about as that collagen is maturing? It's initially the body has laid down what I call emergency collagen type 3. It's not very good quality. So over the next 90 days, when we want it to mature and remodel and be nice and tensile, and we want it to become a triple helix instead of a single strand, we want it to cross-link itself and become a triple helix and become a nice collagen, bundle or collagen fiber. Do we then tell our clients, or are you all telling your clients, you need to come in for more LED, you need to come in for, it could be some other type of nourishing, hydrating, regenerating, rejuvenating treatment in that 90 days, in the 3 months where that maturation occurs? And oftentimes people are not. You're actually missing out not on just a sale or your client returning, but you're missing out on an opportunity for amazing results. So like I said, it's not all about money, it's about efficacy and results, but you potentially are missing out over the next 3 months. A client, they might not come in for another treatment with ablative, any type of treatment actually, that is causing thermal or mechanical trauma. You need to be telling your clients to come in and to have some other treatments done to support that production of collagen and elastin. Okay, so I've gone off on a tangent, but hopefully that helps you a little bit. The secondary impact that ablative plasma has, and this is where this is different from non-ablative, is you've got the transference of heat. And it's that transference of heat from the epidermis to the dermis, and that little bit of heat that's coming from our tip is what causes that contraction. Very similar to putting a pair of your favorite jeans in the dryer. When you expose them to heat, or a woolen jumper, what does it do? It shrinks. And that's what happens to our collagen fibers. When it's exposed to heat, it shrinks. So let's have a look at non-ablative. Non-ablative plasma is a little bit different, where it's not using, instead of a precise focal electrical discharge, we've got a non-focal electrical discharge, or plasma discharge, to be completely accurate, not electrical, but a plasma. So it's not focused. What that means is instead of having one point that's focused, you've got a big area that's being treated. Therefore, there's no epidermal damage that is actually visual, that's visual to our eyes. All right, so it's there. If you get a magnifying or under a Maggie lamp, you can see the skin kind of goes a little bit white there, but really it's not visible to the naked eye. And so it is non-focal, used to create these tiny little mini arcs, and that then stimulates the fibroblast. So there's a little bit of trauma, okay, but not visible. So it does say here without inducing, but it's the visible trauma, and there's definitely no downtime. So for clients who don't want the downtime of ablative plasma, then this is a fantastic option for them. However, they're not going to get this secondary impact. Are you going to get real tightening and lifting from non-ablative? No, truthfully, no. Are you going to get rejuvenation and a glow up and an increase in collagen and elastin and a freshen up? Yes, but just not the tightening. So be careful with your wording. Now, with your jet plasma, or what we call we've got a device called the Purisma plasma. So this is a different type yet again, where instead of using the ball tip, we are using a cartridge like this, right? So the plasma, instead of coming out from the ball, the plasma is coming out from this entire ceramic plate here. And so it's definitely not focal. But what this also does is it increases ATP, or cellular energy. And we know if it increases cellular energy and ATP, like LED, it's increasing the functionality of our cells. So not only are we creating this trauma, we're also creating cellular energy. This device also, or that particular tip, also increases circulation. It will also help with absorption. And I don't know exactly how, but we've seen it firsthand. It actually regulates melanin production. Now, I will say, when I've done ablative plasma on some clients, I myself have seen their pigmentation reduce, even though I haven't touched their pigmentation. Whether it's the normalization of cell activity, I actually don't know what happens, but we see an improvement in their pigmentation, even though we're not treating it. So this also regulates melanin production, and it actually has antibacterial effects. For those of you who have the plaque spot, you also have another tip, which is the absorption tip. And I don't know if many of you are using it enough or not, but that tip basically breaks down the cell adhesion molecules, and it allows for little channels to be created in the skin. So when you use it on pulsed mode, you can, without any product on the skin, you use it on pulse, it opens up the little channels. Then you put your serum on, or a really gentle peel or an enzyme, whatever it might be. And then we use it on continuous, and we use our same tip to infuse the product in the skin. So those who have got plaque spot can also use it for infusing product as well, with good results. Are there any questions so far? If you have, just put in the comments box so I can see. Okay, so hopefully that helps you understand the difference. Oops. Have either of those girls responded? Okay. All right. So with your Purisma, just for those of you who are interested, I just thought I'd put this slide in because I know a couple of people have private messaged me saying, well, what is it? What's this cold or jet plasma with this other device? Let's see, do you still need to numb? That's a really good question. With our cold plasma, whether it's with your plaque spot or this Purisma, you don't need numbing. And that's the great thing about it. With this particular device, it has two it's a single applicator, but has two tips. You've got your jet tip, and you've got your hair restoration tip. And we're seeing really good results with this as well, by the way. So with your jet tip, It's, like I said, antibacterial, infuses product, increases circulation, increases ATP, it's anti-aging, no downtime. You get 10 hours from this tip. And then with this tip, it increases circulation to strengthen the hair, increases cellular energy. There's no downtime, and this goes for 4 hours. Each treatment's about 5 minutes, by the way. All right, so moving on, and this particular device has both ablative and non-ablative too, by the way, so it does both. Okay. All right, Christina, if one did the ablative plasma, how long after can one do the cold plasma? Okay, great treatment, great result. Oh, great question. So you want to make sure that the skin has, or the microcrusting has fallen off before we do anything else. What you could do is do your treatment. Microcrust might take, say, 5 to 7 days to fall off if it's on the face. And 2 weeks later, you could do a cold plasma to infuse a product that's nourishing and that's healing. So you wouldn't have it on, say, continuous, you would have it on pulsed, so it's a lot more gentle, and you would use that to infuse product in the skin. You wouldn't do your stamping. I'll explain the different methods on how to do treatments, but you would just do your gliding. So you might glide twice over the full face, put your product on, and that is it. So in that instance, it's a healing treatment, as we're not trying to create these microablation points. So if you're looking at doing microablation, then you definitely want to wait, I'd say, at least 4 weeks before we create any more trauma after dot plasma. So like I said a little bit earlier, oftentimes we talk about prepping, and prepping 100% is important. And I would want my clients to be prepping, I would say 2 weeks is okay, 4 weeks is preferable. So anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks, especially if they're a darker Fitzpatrick. And this is for any type of treatment that you're doing, you want them to prep. Having said that, your ablative plasma, you definitely need them to be prepping with your tyrosine inhibitors 4 weeks in advance. With your cold plasma, it's not as important because we're not creating a lot of trauma. Nonetheless, we still want a lot of collagen to be produced, correct? So prepping is still important for all skin types, for both ablative and non-ablative. And why do we prep the skin? We want to make sure that the skin actually tolerates the treatment. Even though you can't see the little microablations, we still want to make sure that the skin is nice and healthy. We want to make sure that the barrier is not impaired, right? If the barrier is impaired, you're not going to get the results. The skin is going to remain in that micro-inflammatory state for a little bit longer. It's not going to really produce the collagen that we're wanting it to. With a skin that's healthy and prepped, we've got quicker wound healing. Quicker wound healing means better fibroblast production. Better fibroblast production then leads us to better results. More collagen, more elastin, more glycosaminoglycans. So your GAGs are a precursor to hyaluronic acid hydration. A good, a well-prepared skin will also reduce the incidence of any risks of PIH or reactions or any unwanted inflammation, even though you won't get that from your cold plasma. But nonetheless, just in case, it will reduce any risk and reactions. With your cold plasma, you won't get PIH anyway, okay, because it's so gentle. Okay. I'll get back to you, Christina, on that in a moment. Okay. So how do you all prep? Can you just type in your comments box, what are the different, I shouldn't even put that there. I should have let you answer first. Okay. In your comments box, beside what we've got here, how else do you prep, and what ingredients or what other modalities do you use in your clinic to prepare the skin for any aesthetic treatment? Who uses what? All right. Alexia. So vitamin A. What have we got? TI. What have you got? TI. You'll have to let me know what that stands for. LED. Exactly what do you have on the screen? What do you mean? Can you not see my screen? You can see my screen. Pigmentation inhibitors. We've got vitamin C, vitamin B, niacinamide, tyrosinase inhibitors. Yep, okay. Okay. We've got vitamin A. Exactly. Vitamin C, vitamin B, LED, peels. Oh, she's saying exactly what I've got on my screen. Thank you for clarifying. Oh my gosh. It's one of those moments. All right. So if you're not doing what we've got on our screen there, you're probably actually doing your client a disservice. Oftentimes people are scared to sell other modalities, or they're too scared to sell skincare. Or they'll say, why don't you just go buy the ordinary vitamin C? Or why don't you just go to, like the chemist down the road? And I just think if we can come from a place of education, if we can educate our clients and let them know, hey, you need a vitamin A, because the vitamin A is going to make your cells work like a young cell again. It tricks the skin into thinking it's young again. It's an antioxidant to fight the free radicals and to fight those ROSs, the reactive oxygen species. It's going to help with stimulating collagen. It's going to increase your circulation. If we explain exactly the function of what the skincare does and how a cosmeceutical grade and how these actives are going to work, as opposed to Sephora or Mecca or Chemist Warehouse. I mean, no offense to those companies, but nonetheless, we need to educate them on what the difference is and why it's really important. If they're going to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars doing treatments with us, it's well and truly worth it for them to spend a little bit of money and give their skin the best chance it has to stimulate collagen, to repair and to heal and do what it's supposed to do, right? So definitely a vitamin A, definitely a vitamin C. Again, antioxidants to help stimulate collagen, helps with the circulation of the skin. It's if I haven't said already, it's an antioxidant. Vitamin B, niacinamide, it's going to help with hydration. It's going to help with inflammation. It's going to help with, like it says there, breakouts. It's going to help with the stopping the transference of your melanocyte to your keratinocyte. So it's going to help, especially your darker skin types too. And then, of course, you've got other ingredients. You've got your hyaluronic acid. You've got, what else? Daisy extract. You've got butane. You've got bearberry extract. There's so many amazing ingredients out there on the market. Oh, no worries, Faye. Yes, the recording will be sent through over probably the next couple of days. But nonetheless, you've got your ingredients, and they're going to help prepare the skin before and also over the next 90 days, especially over the maturation period. LED, if you don't know, you probably already do. I love LED, especially 633 nanometers, and now green. And I'll talk to you about green in a second if you're interested. If not, that's fine. But if you're interested, just type in green and I'll tell you how exactly green impacts wound healing. So not pigmentation and not rosacea or inflammation, but how it helps with the wound healing. We'll talk about that at the end then. So red LED increases your ATP, which is your cellular energy. And what that does is it actually makes the skin heal. It's 155% better than mature skin that hasn't been exposed to LED. That stat comes from NASA, by the way. And it actually quintuples, quadruples, if not quintuples, your wound healing as well, and it increases your fibroblast. So there's an increase of fibroblast. What was that, 155%? And wound healing, was it the other way around? It increases wound healing, right? And again, over the next several months after we do the treatment, really important that you do more LED. Okay, green LED works very differently. Whilst red LED helps with wound healing via the production of your ATP, green actually increases something called Hay caps, which is your human epidermal keratinocytes. It increases that and their wound healing capabilities. So if you have green, although I've always banged on about green being really good for superficial inflammation and melanin, there's a new clinical study showing that green actually helps with wound healing as well. And it's quite impressive. So you need to be careful that you're using low dose green and not high dose, so you don't get hyperpigmentation, because it can do that. So it's just low doses of green LED for 10 minutes. You don't need a lot of it. And that is going to expedite wound healing as well as red. So that is a new study. I can find out who the doctor or the study was if you like, and I'll put it in the comments if you like. Yeah, okay, we're nodding. Infrared is great for someone who's got a lot of swelling. Now, with cold plasma or non-ablative plasma, we don't expect them to have swelling. So really, my focus would be red LED, 2 to 4 weeks before the treatment, and also over the next several months after your treatment as well, right? Needling. Oftentimes people say needling for prepping. Yes, needling for prepping. And the way I teach needling is very different to most of the other trainers out there. But there are now lots of new emerging studies showing that needling and needling closer together, so 4 to 10 days apart rather than 4 to 6 weeks, is actually more effective than needling, like I said, further apart. If you're interested, look up Dr. Des Fernandez and type into Google needling intervals, and there's a clinical study that he's written showing the effectiveness of needling closer together and why. And it's all got to do with the proliferative phase. But what needling essentially does is it makes the cells work the way they should. It enhances cellular functionality. It has so many amazing benefits. So all you need to do is 2 or 3 weekly needling sessions leading up to any other treatment, including non-ablative plasma, because it's going to enhance the results. And it does that by increasing growth factors, epidermal growth factors. It increases what we call interleukin 10, which helps with unwanted inflammation, and it increases hyaluronic acid. It increases something called VEGF, which is vascular endothelial growth factor. When we increase VEGF, we get angiogenesis, the production of capillaries. When we have the production of capillaries, we have more blood, more circulation, more nutrition, more toxin clearance, healthier skin. And it also down-regulates something called MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone. So it actually reduces pigmentation by doing that. So when you're doing needling before any other treatment, you're getting all of this goodness from that needling, including those growth factors, including the cytokines, including all of this regeneration, and it makes the cells work like a young cell again. So you wouldn't do it on compromised skin, you would do it on prep skin, but you would do needling, and then you would start doing your cold plasma treatments. And of course, a hydrated skin is going to work far more superiorly than a non-hydrated skin. The cells communicate better, they heal better. And so a hydrating treatment, whether it's a hydrofacial or whether it's an oxygen treatment or whether it's a hydrating enzyme peel, is going to help the skin, in particular in between when you're doing your treatments. So before, during, and also after hydrating. Gentle peels, I've kind of already touched on the enzyme peels, are very hydrating, like a salicylic peel perhaps. So that's going to help. And then of course, other things that are going to help in terms of prepping is internal. So internally prepping the skin. Again, it's often overlooked. Many people don't even talk about supplementation. And I just think, how can you not? We are what we eat, after all. So, you're wanting your clients to be taking essential fatty acids, zinc, magnesium, And there's another one called N-acetylcysteine, which is NAC. A lot of people may not have heard of NAC, but basically NAC is going to help mutated or damaged cells. It helps them repair those cells. And so by making your cells work the way they should, they're able to produce collagen and elastin the way they should, right? So internal health is really important. Where now I won't mention who have we partnered up. No, I won't mention who we've partnered up with. Not partnered up, but we're about to bring on a range. When it actually happens, I'll let you know. But I think internal health is really important. If you're not looking on bringing on a huge range, at least get them onto some zinc and essential fatty acids, right? Magnesium is another building block. Okay. And I will come to questions in the end, so don't worry. So with your jet plasma, the treatment is very different to your dotless plasma. So really quickly with our dotless plasma, it's as if you're doing a crosshatch on the skin. So you'll go up and down and then across and then diagonally one way and diagonally the other way. And you'll keep going until you complete the entire face. And by the end of the treatment, you should see a little bit of erythema at least, right? And that's erythema, the inflammation is what we're relying on. And then if I really, really want to get into, say, the scarring or some fine lines, then I'll just tap with my plaque spot along where that line is, because tapping creates a little bit more of an arc and a spark, and it makes it a little bit more aggressive. So they will leave a little bit red. We're not wanting them to put anything on their skin because it will tingle. So with our jet plasma or our Purisma plasma, there's two ways, and we actually ask you, well, we prefer you to combine them. There's our stamping. So our stamping, which is going to be a little bit more aggressive again. And basically it's just a couple of seconds per stamp, and we do 2 passes. And then there's our brushing, where we're in motion and we're basically moving our applicator across the skin. And that's only a 5-minute quick treatment. So we do both, very similar to our plaque spot plasma, where you crosshatch and then you stamp. It's just a sort of slightly different order. So both are relatively quick. Plaque spot plasma, client is more than done by half an hour. It's less than half an hour. And in this case, it's about a 15-minute treatment. Okay, so they're relatively quick treatments. With our jet plasma, and maybe if I can, I'll bring up some results from our plaque spot plasma too. But we recommend 9 treatments. So it's 3 treatments in almost a space of, say, less than 10 days. Then we give them a bit of a break. Then we do another 3 treatments. Then we give them a break. Then it's another 3 treatments. So each cycle, there's 3 treatments, and you do a treatment every, say, 3rd day. And like I said, every 2 to 3 cycles is recommended. So 3 treatments, break, 3 treatments, break. This here was by Heidi from Skin Optics. If you go onto her page, she has both the plaque spot and she has your jet plasma. I feel like she's doing a lot more normal plasma again. She went through a phase where she was doing a lot of jet. Her results were actually quite good. Make that small so we could see. So you could see the skin looks fresher, the pigmentation isn't as obvious, fine lines, wrinkles have improved, and she just looks like she's got a healthy glow. And again here, the lines have diminished, and she's got a bit more of a clearer complexion to her skin as well. So you do need more treatments closer together with cold plasma or jet plasma. With normal dot plasma, we're saying 1 to 3 treatments. With this, it could be anywhere from 6 to 9 treatments or more, depending on the severity of their skin. So like I said, feel free to head on over to Skin Optics and have a look at Heidi's results. The other person you can have a look at for plaque spot dotless plasma is Teeny, what's her? Oh, okay. Tina's actually responded. I'll just say, can I have you for 2 minutes? Huh? Oh no. Okay. All right. We've got Tierney. Where's she from? Eco Beauty Lounge. So if you go to Eco Beauty Lounge's Instagram, you can have a look at Tierney's before and after photos on there. And the other one is Jess Basile from, where's Jess from? It starts with A. It's on the top of my tongue, the tip of my tongue. Ah, how do you know, Tanya? So Novo, Nuovo. If you have a look at her Instagram, I know she's got the Plexbot Plasma, and I know they're doing really well with the dotless as well. Apparently they're doing heaps of dotless. So definitely there's demand for it. People don't like the downtime, and the results are, quite impressive. Okay, can I clarify 6 weeks after each cycle? So you do one cycle, wait, yes, correct. 6 weeks, then you do another, then you do another. So that's with your jet. With your dotless plasma, it's a little bit different. With your dotless plasma, you do one treatment and it's every 2 weeks. So it's a different protocol, because with your Plexbot plasma, you are creating that microablation. And so with that, you need to wait the 2 weeks before you do another treatment. With this, we're waiting probably every 3 or so days. Okay. All right. So 8 o'clock, right on. So let's sort of open this up for a bit of a discussion, because I know, Christina, you had a couple of questions. There's a couple of other questions there. But before I sort of get rid of this screen, if you enjoy these little 1 hour snippets of education, leave us a review. Whether it's on Google or Facebook, I'd really appreciate that. And it gives me more of a reason to give you more free education. So let's look at questions. Stop sharing. Okay, so we've got Christina, depths vary with needling on different part of the face. Do you recommend any particular depth, 2.5 or 0.5? Okay, so it depends why you're needling. And I know this isn't really a needling webinar, but I'll quickly answer the question. So if you're needling for collagen induction, you want a little bit of what we call petechiae, which is your pinpoint bleeding. So you want a little bit of pinpoint bleeding, and that depth could be anywhere from, say, 0.5 to 0.7 on the forehead, and it could be, usually I'll say on the cheek it's 1.5 to 1.7, so it's a bit more aggressive. And the reason for that is I want the release of platelets, because with the release of platelets, then you're obviously have got all the growth factors that I mentioned earlier. Without the platelets, you're only getting fibroblasts. And with the fibroblasts, you only get collagen and elastin. So you're still going to get a result if you don't do pinpoint bleeding, if you just get erythema. But if you get pinpoint bleeding, you're going to get that, the fibroblasts, plus so much more. And that so much more is the growth factors, the vascular endothelial growth factor. You get the interleukin-10, you get, the downregulation of MSH. So it's like you're supercharging your needling treatment when you get pinpoint bleeding. Hopefully that kind of helps. I'm not going to give you a precise answer, because every skin is different and everyone's papillary layer is different. This is just before doing fibroblast. Is that what so with your needling? Yeah, so needling weekly sessions, and it's not just before doing any type of fibroblast, it's leading up to. So a program or a package could look something like this. We're going to we're going to prepare our client's skin for 2 to 4 weeks before with skincare and LED. Then we do a needling treatment. A day later, maybe some more LED. 7 to 10 days, or 4 to 10 days is the protocol, but I think 4 days is too close. So I do 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days, I do another needling session, and again, in between, more LED. So I'll do 2 or 3 needling sessions, wait 2 weeks, and then I can start my plasma, ablative or non-ablative. And that way, I'm actually getting more out of the skin than just doing my plasma on its own. And you can sell that as a package. Like, why wouldn't you? Michaela, can you run through a protocol from start to finish of a treatment for example, double cleanse, exfoliation, LED, plasma, serum, mask, etc. Okay, so always start with a double cleanse. You know, if you want to do an exfoliation, I think if we do a gentle exfoliation, then a hydrating treatment, anything after that is going to always work better. Current, plasma, radio frequency, whatever it might be, works better on a hydrated skin, and transfers energy better on a hydrated skin. So I'm always going to do something that's going to be hydrated, and preferably on exfoliated skin. Then you've got it all right, in the right order. Then you've got your LED. And even while the LED, you could actually have something that's hydrating on. So whether it's, let's say we've got a cactus enzyme mask that you can put on, or one of our Cellux sheet masks you can put on, the hydrating one. So you could do that. But exfoliate, LED, and then you'll do your plaque spot plasma infusing tip, and you'll do your little pulsing on the skin. Then you put your serum, and then you use your same tip, which is not your infusing tip, your permeating tip rather, and then you permeate, and then you infuse. So I'll just repeat that because I confused everyone. You'll use your plaque spot permeating tip, and you do your pulsing everywhere to create those little channels. Then you'll put a serum on, and with the same tip on continuous mode, this time, you'll massage that tip to infuse the product on the skin. That is your plaque spot protocol. With your jet protocol, it's a little bit different. If you use a serum before the jet plasma, it's not going to work. I've tried it, it just doesn't work. So you will have it the other way around. You do your jet plasma, and then you put your serum on. Okay, because if the skin has got any oils, or it's wet, you've got product on the skin, you're just not going to get that the best plasma occurring between the tip and the skin. So depending which device you have, it'll be a little bit different. Do I want to put on a mask after I've done a treatment? What do you think? Do I want to put a soothing cooling mask on right at the end? No. And the reason for that is we don't want to reduce the inflammatory response in the skin. Okay. So we want the inflammation there. So the way I'd finish it up is with some type of a hydrator and a bit of sunblock. That's it. Cool. Pleasure. Was that good? Of course you're going to say yes, I can see you. Okay, hopefully that helped, and that gave you a little bit of a deeper insight rather than a quick, 20-minute Facebook Live. Kylie, do you know Jess? She's going to say she works there. No? Okay. Who knows? Oh, no, it was Tanya.
Chrissy, we used to be in Chrissy's coaching group together, like a couple of years back now. And then Jess is actually because I'm just in Greensborough, sort of, and Jess is just up the road. So she did plasma on me before Christmas.
Okay. Did she talk about her dotless at all? Do you know?
We did dotless because I've had ablative before and I didn't want to have it again. So we did dotless this time.
Okay.
It wasn't there, it was somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fine. It just took a lot longer I had it on my eyelids, and it took a lot longer to heal than what I thought it would. And
dotless.
No. The bladed one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the dotless was nice. But that smell like brought back memories when I had my eyelids done, and I was like, oh yeah, this is familiar.
Yep. She actually just messaged me. She said, "Sorry, I missed this. I would have loved to have jumped on, but I'm still with till 9." So you never know. Look, maybe I'll, have a look at her. Just stalk her Instagram. I'm sure there's lots of photos there.
Yeah.
But I know she does lots of them. I know Teeny does lots of them. There's other clients who do lots as well, but they're the two that I just happened to talk to today about something else completely different. So, but yeah, great device for people who don't want the downtime. It's not going to be quite the same. And with dot plasma, it has earned itself a negative reputation because of the way it was done previously. But we've perfected it now. The smaller the dots, the further away they are, the better we're getting better results. So you don't need to be aggressive with the dots. But for those who don't want downtime, this is another opportunity, for them to have a plasma treatment. Christina, the zinc sunscreen, is that enough without putting a moisturizer underneath? Yes, I put, if this is the zinc armor, I always like to put the hyaluronic acid, a high glide on, because the zinc can be a little bit thick. So definitely like to have something on under that. So you're right. Whether it's the high glide or whether it's the epi oil and then the zinc, that would be fine. All right. Any other questions? Okay, so let me just stop the recording. Here we go. I'm putting her on the spot. Teeny. All the way from Darwin. Hello. Can you hear us? Teeny. Oh.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm completely putting you on the spot, and I didn't even think about it when we messaged before. Well, it was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, last night.
Yeah, I didn't even think about asking you to hop on, but as soon as this started, I've gone, why didn't I ask her? So it's up to you if you want to put your camera on or not. I know you're not prepared for this.
I will, but I'm definitely not prepared. I was jumping on just to watch.
I'm sorry.
I've been doing washing in my daughter's room. Really.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Well, we've only got a few people left, but nonetheless, I thought I'd sort of quickly message you because I know you've got the plaque spot, and I know through our conversations you do a lot of the dotless. Is that right? Over the dots, or?
Yeah, so we just thought we weren't really utilizing the pen too much, and we hadn't played around too much with the other tips. So probably late last year, we did a little promo on a package for dotless plasma. Yeah, so it was good just to see what else it was capable of doing.
And what are your thoughts? I should have asked you to put it
on. I think like instant, you get a really good plumping effect.
Yeah.
The fact that there's no downtime. I was trialing it just on a friend of mine to start with, and he hadn't had any prep done. He was in his 40s, on very minimal, probably like not the best client to be trialing it on, but he still had really good results. So it was good to see that.
How many treatments did you do on him?
I did 5 every 2 weeks, I think it was now. Yeah. The girls, I'm off the floor, so I don't really see a lot of the results. But the girls, we did sell quite a few packages and had people buying like a second round as well. So some clients are still seeing the end of their package off. Yeah. Which, yeah.
Okay. So is it, I know it's not as effective as the dots. So would you say are they going to be repeat clients in 6 months, in a year, or whatever it is when they come for the maintenance? Are the results enough for them to go, yep, this is awesome? Or
I actually reached out to Ella because I was like, you would be the best person for this to jump on. I haven't checked in enough. So yeah, I know instant results are there and we got really good like visuals of 1 or 2 treatments straight away. But as for longevity, I'm not 100% sure on how well it's gone.
So longevity, what we see is it's not as good as your dots, which is expected. And they need maintenance a bit closer together. So dots, we say, you know, maybe maintenance might be 12 to 18 months. With this, they'll need a touch up, say, every 3 months, or another series, you know, 2 or 3 treatments every 6 months, just to maintain it, because you're not creating the same amount of inflammation. But it'd be interesting to see if clients are coming back 12 months going, I want another round. So, yeah, maybe when we post this video, I'll get you to comment if you ask one of the girls what she's, oh, you haven't been doing it for that long anyway, have you? Tanya, do you know if Jess has been doing it for a while?
Not sure. I had mine done like end of November, but I don't know how long she'd be doing it before that.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I know Jess sort of does go on about it. I know you, Tierney, had said that you got really good results as well, but the long term, the proof's going to be in the pudding. But if we're creating an inflammatory response immediately, there's going to be some long-term gain for sure. Has anyone got any questions, either for me or for Tierney? Thanks for hopping on. Okay. All right, I'm going to let you go. It's 8:15. You can watch the replay on YouTube. All right, ladies, I'll see you in a month's time. What are we doing next month? Do we know? Oh, I'll have to have a look. It's too late for my brain to sort of think. But I'll make sure it's interesting. I might do one on hair regeneration, actually, because we'll be finishing our trial. We're halfway through our hair regeneration trial, and I'd say nearly everyone has seen new hairs come through, and in 3 weeks. I'm like, that's not possible. So I'll let you know how it goes next month. All right. Have a good night, everyone. That's okay, Tierney. You're the best. You're all the best, actually. All right. Bye. I think pricing, Christina, people are charging around $199 to $250, unless you're doing like a package. You know, some people, if you're buying a package of 8, you might get 2 for free, for example, because you need we say 6 to say 10 treatments. Yeah. Thanks for asking the questions. Have a good night. Bye. Pleasure.